under the radar.
So here I am in Berlin, and this is part of the original wall, the Berlin Wall that came down, but they left this part up, and it's still here, so it's amazing. It's amazing it was here in the first place. It's amazing that it came down. And I'm stopping the traffic, that's cool. It's okay, ladies, you can go. And yeah, here it is. It's a piece of history. Unbelievable. So, wow, what can I say? So microphones come in strange shapes these days, in the shape of a phone, high technology. I'm in Berlin, and we're in the Ramones Museum, and with my cousin, Martin Saeed, who was once on the show a couple of years ago when we were talking about music that came from Berlin, but today it's all about the Ramones. And you remember last time we were in my place?
No, remember, you gave me lots of brandy.
Yeah, the brandy I gave you was huge. Look at the brandy you've given me, it's like tiny.
Well, you can have a second one if you want to, so there's no shortage of whiskey here.
I am selling a few fibs because we've also got an Irish coffee here as well. So
you got a double whiskey then.
So here we are in Berlin, in the Ramones Museum, and it's all about the Ramones today. But you got to know Dee Dee Ramone when he came to Berlin, didn't you?
Yeah, I met him when he was on tour here, just shortly after he left the Ramones, and he wanted to relocate to Berlin. And he was on tour, and we met, and got friends, and that's how it started. And every time I was in Berlin, we met, and we were good friends. And he used to call me up after he had relocated to Amsterdam, and talk to him on the phone. We talked for about 2 or 3 hours each time. But most of it was quite senseless because he was on drugs.
He did have a problem most of his adult life with drugs, didn't he?
He had problems with drugs from the age 10, I think.
Really? Wow.
He started when he was still living with his parents. His dad was in the military, so he spent most of his life in the army camps, army barracks, and that's where he got started with drugs. Probably most of the American soldiers use drugs as well. So it was just quite normal for him to take drugs.
Do you remember that song Chinese Rocks? Because apparently he wrote it, but Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers recorded it, the Ramones recorded it as well, and there was always an argument about whose song it was, but really it was Dee Dee's, wasn't it?
Everybody claims to have written Chinese Rocks. Johnny Thunders, Steve Peters was involved in it as well, so... And Dee Dee Ramone, I think he did it. He was the one who wrote it.
It sounds like a Dee Dee song, really.
It does, absolutely.
So you hung out with him in Berlin?
Right. Every time I was on tour, went to the show and we met afterwards, and got along very well. Just shortly before he died, when he lived in California, he invited me to visit him in California, and he wrote me down his address on a paper plate, and I still have it to this day, somewhere in my flat.
He phoned your home and you weren't in?
Right.
And Ellie, your girlfriend?
She was the one to take the calls, and she didn't know who he was, because when he rang up, he called in by his real name, Douglas Colvin, calling in, hi, it's Douglas Colvin, it's Martin in, and Ellie didn't know who he was, and after I told her, she was quite amazed. Dee Dee Ramone calling you at your home.
So Dee Dee phones your home, and he says, is Martin in, and you had no idea it was Dee Dee Ramone?
No, I hadn't. And when he came home, I told him there was a Douglas Colvin calling, and he said he's calling back, and he looked at me and said, you don't know who it was? I said, no, of course not.
And I'm changing subject a little bit, of course, but you once met David Bowie in Berlin.
Yeah, I think about 76. He was always going to the same places where we went. Well, it was a time in Berlin. We had special places to go. and everywhere met the people in these places.
Should we toast Dee Dee and David? Because they're
Dee Dee and David.
they're both gone.
Cheers.
Well, Martin and Ellie, thanks for hosting me whilst I've been in Berlin. It's been fantastic. Getting to walk the same streets that David Bowie and Iggy Pop did. And, of course, Dee Dee Ramone. And it's good that Berlin pays tribute to the Ramones, because the Ramones are seminal, yet a lot of the time they're just reduced to a T-shirt, aren't they?
Dee Dee Ramone lived a long time in Berlin. Well, he was brought up in Berlin. His mum was German. She married a GI, and he was born in Berlin. They moved around with the army, and, well, so it was some kind of coming home for him every time he went to Berlin.
One more toast for Dee Dee.
To the street hookers. Cheers.
Alarm clock ringing, it's time to get up. It's time to do that funky strut. I'm a funky man, I got funky bones. I'm a funky man, my name is Dee Dee Ramone. Well, let me tell you a little about myself. I play the bass in a punk rock band. Been all over the world, even to Japan, and nothing can surprise me, man. I seen it all, I had a ball. Someone should make a Dee Dee double R.